Hello, everybody. My name is Coach 𝒂𝒍�, and welcome to Athletic Definition. Today, my guest is Phoebe. How you doing today?
Hey Ray, I'm doing good today. It's a Thursday, so I'm feeling pretty great.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad you're doing good. And I know you're new to Fireside. Welcome to Fireside. I went ahead and put your link information on the fortune cookie, and so that as more audience people start coming in, they'll be able to find you easily if they find something that resonates with them. And so basically, this is my show where I get to bring on different people that get to tell their story, basically of why you're into fitness, and I've got to know you a little bit, and I like to bring a variety because some people just kind of get into like I don't know, like one type of working out, and some maybe you can call it ADD, but I like variety. I get bored, or growing up, I played different sports and always done different types of workouts. So I always see on your Instagram you're always doing different type of workouts. So I thought it's always good to start from the beginning. I know that you didn't always were in shape. So as a child, were you active? Did you play sports?
Growing up, I moved around a lot, so I was in and out of sports. I would sign up and I would be there for part of it, but then right before I came to the finale portion, I was always taken out and went somewhere else. So it's like I was, but then I wasn't. So I was like the master of none. I did a lot of things, but I didn't really perfect anything.
I think that that's good though as a child growing up for you to kind of have a variety, and then as you kind of actually hopefully find maybe passion for one sport more particular than the other, then you kind of start focusing on that more. But it just kind of gives you good all around just like variety to using different muscles that we typically don't use.
I completely agree. I feel that's when I officially fell in love with fitness was when I realized I didn't need to be good at a sport per se. Like I can lift weights and still be considered fit and athletic for myself. And I felt that felt empowering without having to define it. So that was like really liberating for me.
Yes, I have a friend who hopefully I'll have him on soon. He does all kinds of Ironman now, and growing up, he didn't like any sports at all, and I never would have thought, since he never had any interest in any sports at all, that he'd be such a athlete now. So it's funny. You know, some people will be like, "Oh, well, biking's not even that tough," but that's why my show is this show because everyone has their definition of what an athlete is, and um, you know, at what point did you kind of start becoming inactive?
Did you say inactive?
Inactive, like what happened from you, like growing up, kind of doing a variety of sports.
To not being active? Well, I mean, I I was never really I did drill team towards the end of high school. And so I was somewhat dabbling into that. And that caused some physical education and some movement. But for the most part, I didn't know what to do in the gym. And I used to have this one Bally's gym that was next to my house. And it was so many gyms after that, but it was so petite. And so getting to anything felt like a lot of waiting. And I was too shy to ask any questions. And it was always too crowded. And so I would try and try again until I got tired of trying again. And I just kept on finding what worked best at the time. And so that's how I started getting active again. It was just saying, like, screw it, just show up and find the schedule that works for you. When is it less crowded? Go. I investigated different movements and I started just openly exploring without feeling the shame of behind it or not knowing.
I've worked at many different gyms, and Bally Total Fitness was one of them. What was it that made you feel uncomfortable? You know, uh, going up to asking someone.
Well, I mean, since I feel like the personal training experience that I would get at the time, I felt honestly, when I look back, it probably wasn't that bad. I was just really out of shape. And so when I would ask questions, I felt like I was going to be put through the ringer just to get an answer of how do you, like, just to learn the simple movements. I felt like I never learned the simple movements, and or maybe I just wasn't open to it. So I honestly, I feel like when you don't grow up as a fit person, and you are officially discovering that maybe in like your early 20s, you are less responsive when people are fully aware that you are completely new. And I feel like there feels like there's a shame behind it. And I felt like it made me not ask questions. I was always someone that didn't really ask questions until I became someone in my 20s who just got tired of just not knowing. That's just how things end.
I know, speaking to different women, and some that I train, um, they don't feel comfortable going into gyms, and a lot of them, and we'll definitely get into it more, don't feel comfortable with weights. And that's kind of why I asked, that way if someone else is listening could kind of relate. Um, I know a lot of girls just don't want to be around, just, you know, there, there's like hardcore gyms, and some hardcore lifters like to go to the everyday person gym, and some people find that kind of intimidating. And I've been told that before, and I could understand that, especially if you're new, like you were mentioning, you don't come from any sort of real fitness background, and you just see all these really muscular people walking around.
Definitely. I feel that there's people that were just in shape and you just felt like you were in their territory, and you just, for someone that eventually is ready for change, you're just kind of like, you have to make it your territory too, and you can just find your little corner. But it's like it becomes a harder way when you don't ask questions. I have to admit, like, learning through kind of not experiencing it, but like reading about it and using no mirrors for external feedback, just kind of hoping that I was going the right way, actually made it a little bit more difficult for me, I feel, in the process, which is like why I'm a personal trainer now, so I can make it less of a complicated situation for someone else, hopefully in the same spot that I was in. Like,
And everyone that I've talked to so far, one of the reasons why they get the certification is really for self learning before actually thinking about applying it to others. A lot of people have some sort of injury or just working out or on their fitness journey, and then that's the beauty of it. It starts off with, oh, I'm only going to do this, and then all of a sudden, well, I see a little bit of results, I feel a little bit more energy. What if I did this? And then start learning a little bit more, and hopefully the goal is to kind of turn it into a lifestyle, basically.
I agree. I mean, just that's when the whole habit, like, I love how you call this healthier habits, because I feel like that was for me, was making healthier habits for a fitness routine that worked with a schedule that wasn't kind of like going against the tide for me, I guess. And when it came to like my working out while in school, while working as well, fitting into your schedule, because that's just, people will spend an hour watching Netflix, but can't really actually think about spending the hour of actually going to the gym, doing that part. So it is just, it's all about getting over the intimidation and building the habits that work for you, feeling comfortable. And yeah, I totally agree. It is.
And so, on your bio, it was says that you put on like 20 pounds. And what was it that made you just kind of be like, okay, this is it? I want to change, you know? And how long did you go? Because I know there's a lot of people, including myself, who'll be like, well, I'm going to start this week. And then the week turns into a month or years. And so, how long did you kind of like battle yourself to get started?
The first time I started was back in like 2014, and I just kind of like would do just accountability pictures on Instagram, and just kind of like, it felt like I was counting down the days, like I was counting down Christmas. day one, day two, day three, because I couldn't even believe that I was looking at the consistency, like more of the data of it. And, but I was on that really good routine of it all. But then when I lost the routine was when, and I gained the weight back was when my dad passed away. And I realized like I dropped my gym membership. I was trying to do like online classes of like Beachbody and stuff, but I was not seeing any changes because honestly, it was my nutrition. And I realized I was really just not, it wasn't a, I was going against what I was doing. I really wasn't exerting more energy than I was actually consuming. And so I had to re get my gym membership. I remember it was in October 2017. And when I got the gym membership, I just like, no matter what, I was going without my husband. I was going to be committed. And I showed up even when I didn't feel like it. I would visualize myself getting to the parking lot, getting inside the gym. And eventually, you don't want to just go inside and just put down your gym stuff. So you'll actually be productive. You don't want to be the person on your phone, you know? And so I just kept on like just visualizing a lot of the steps because I was going against grief at the same time. And, but like, I felt like doing something good helped me just like not focus on the negative. And as long as I'm doing this and as long as I'm showing up to my fitness and my education, that's what mattered at that point for me, you know? And so it just gave me something to do better.
I'm sorry to hear about your father. That's something never easy. I lost my father when I was 18, so it was definitely a struggle. I definitely could have used his guidance in so many things. So I'm sorry to hear about that. And the important thing is that you got started again and you started, working out. And that's actually a topic that I probably want to do a show on, dealing with grief and trying to work out or trying to compete as an athlete. Because I've experienced a lot of death growing up. And so I feel that I've used it as a form of a therapy. And so I wonder how many other people kind of do that as well. Because there's a reverse, which kind of you mentioned. You just don't want to really do anything, go around people, talk to people, talk to your friends, stop going to the gym. Uh, and so I definitely want to kind of talk on that more. And as I mentioned, sorry to hear about that. And you mentioned that you're married, and that's something very important, especially if you're working out, having that support system. How does your husband feel about working out and you being so passionate about working out?
I'm sorry to hear about your loss as well. And I do want to touch on that topic again because that's something that I'm finding more people in the same situation of using grief and using fitness together as a way to kind of overcome a lot for perseverance. But with my husband, to continue with that, um, honestly, he was very supportive, like back when I started going, like 2014. But then there was a point where he died off. And then I just had to continue to go without him. And he would support that. And just, I had to go, when you're just very comfortable in a relationship, you're like, but we could watch TV. But I just had to ignore that part and just still be that support system for myself, even when he wasn't in that mindset yet. And now my living room is like half a gym now. It is like my favorite space. I rather go like I really enjoy the mini gym that he let me create in my corner, and he really supports it. Sometimes he'll do his best like I to work out with me, but he honestly put his body through just the most growing up. Like he's injured like his back, his shoulders, so he does his best to rest now when he has to, but he also does his best to join me as much as possible and give me that support. My mom for our graduation because he graduated from junior college this past year, and I graduated um, from Castle Long Beach back in January of last year. But since we barely both had our graduation this year, we got Spartan races, and so now he's super motivated because we're not just going to be doing it. I'm like really focused on beating my time right now for a 5K because I'm barely at 30 minutes cutting it, and but now it's like I'm worried about all the different obstacles in between. And now he's looking at the videos, he's getting into it because if we miss something, we get like penalty burpees. We're gonna get like some major stuff. You know how it is. So I'm nervous about that, but I love how it's kind of putting the fire under him to just really, hey, wait a second, I can't just like lift weights. Like I have to be like, it's gonna be power, it's gonna be strength, it's gonna be so amazing.
I have not had the opportunity to do a sparring yet. I'm definitely have it on my radar, and I have had plenty of friends who have told me about it, and they tell me that you get those penalty burpees. So, but you'll do fine. And since I follow you on social media, and if anyone wants to follow you on social media, you could click on the fortune cookie and find a link to her bio. Um, but I always see you kind of working out, and that home gym, was that something built during COVID like a lot of people did, or did you kind of have that already?
A lot of it was from back when I first started, and it was just a lot of things that I collected over the years. Like for me, when it comes to Christmas or for my birthday, what does Phoebe want? And it's always kind of a fitness item. It is something for my home gym, and it's built. And during quarantine, that's when I got to dig a little deeper, make it my own space, make it my own. Just because it became more of a, when I wake up first thing in the morning, I don't just work out. I'll go ahead and hang out for a bit, make it kind of like, I guess, a vibe, what I like to consider it. And it honestly just became a really cool space as squat rack. I have Bosu balls. I have my trampoline. I have like all my dumbbells, like even barbells. And it is so cool just to be able to have a small space where you can just get down.
So I have a bunch of toys too, and I don't know if you could even answer it, but I'm gonna ask anyways. What's your favorite? If you were like stuck in an island and you can only take one workout item, what would it be?
Oh man, that's hard. I love shuffling through different things, but if I'm at an island, I'll definitely have rocks there. So that will be fun to play around with. So I just got a Bosu ball for my birthday, and I'm loving that so much for stability right now. It's been a lot of fun with that. But resistant bands would be, as long as I can take the whole collection of resistant bands, I would be happy with that because I can use that in so many different ways.
Okay, I will answer that question. But when you say the whole collection, how large is your collection?
I have I have a lot of different, the tougher, the larger looped resistant bands. I have those. And then I have my hip bands. And everyone always gets me hip bands. And so my collection is bigger than it should be. And so I have the fabric bands, I have the elastic bands, and the looped ones are officially gone. The one that are open and a little bit thinner, those are just, yeah, they only have one left, and it's the lighter one, which is kind of
Huh, actually, this is kind of cool. I haven't tried it. I'm gonna see if I could try these. But I have these type of bands right here. Uh, they're pretty light. They don't take up space. I like them. They're pretty handy. And then I also have these. I have like these bands, and for the people just listening in, these are Serious Steel, the brand, and I have one matching for each. Like if I have two pink, two blues, two purples, and I really like these because you could do all kinds of things with this. Um, but if I were to be, see, now that you mentioned the rocks, I was thinking a kettlebell, but I'm like, well, you mentioned rocks, and now maybe I wouldn't pick a kettlebell anymore.
right. I mean, you're there. You go, right there, and all the other you can tether around. Like let's say there's palm trees, put that around with the resistant band right there. You got your pulley, you got your different items.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with a resistant band then. Because yeah, I could use rocks and kind of build everything else. I think there's some cool people on Instagram who are very creative that I follow. One guy, he's a farmer, but he does everything. He builds like his whole gym out of wood, and his whole Instagram is about that. And he's a basketball baller from who's a
I've
farmer.
seen
You seen that?
that is so awesome. I've seen it, and he's so cool and so creative. Such a cool guy. That is so amazing. Like everything he has created.
yeah, he built it from scratch. It's very interesting. I never really thought about that, but I'm like, oh, maybe I'll reach out to him, see if I could get him on, because that's very creative. Um, I know that's probably not my that's not my thing to build stuff. I'm a creative in a different way, and so you got some good motivation now, and you have a home gym. And um, how was it during COVID? Because I know for a lot of personal trainers, I mean, you're a lot of personal trainers, a lot of gym owners, even the big ones, from small to like martial art academies, they took a hit. So how was it for you, and how did you deal with it?
For me, that's where I I was going through my certification at the time. And so I was learning from NASM, but at the same time, I was loving all the information everyone was putting out for home workouts. It was honestly felt like such a gold mine. And so I had fun with that because before COVID hit, I I was honestly already just working out in the studio that at the gym I was going to. I would gather my barbells, I would gather my dumbbells and a box that I needed from across the gym and bring it all the way back to the studio that they would have, just because I felt like for the most part it was just always so packed. And honestly, sometimes even then, you just got to decide, well, let me go find my corner. And so that's what I would do. And so it didn't feel so strange from what I was doing there. I would just turn all my gym workouts into whatever I can with limited equipment already. So that was I luckily was already transitioning for like the previous year prior. So that was pretty awesome. Like I feel thankful for that. But also I spent a lot of time just obsessively just like it is such gold information for me. I honestly have so much fun updating myself, learning new things. And so it was just a lot of fun for me to read new information on it and just
And this is what's kind of funny about the whole fitness world is the tests are expensive. They're depending on which one, they could be pretty difficult and uh, take time to study for them. And yet, no one will ask you what certification did you get, or have you had a lot of people ask you?
I mean, I feel that no one really asked, but I love the fact that I went through NASM because I really feel like right after finishing getting my bachelor's in psychology, it felt so equivalent to just the type of information that I needed going to being a personal trainer because I really did not know the depth of what a personal trainer knew prior. And but it's crazy that no one's going to appreciate it in the same way that you do. You're like, I'm so stoked I went through this company. Like, you know what I mean? But no one has asked me but I still say it just in case because it's just kind of like it's not just like I'm someone that was a fitness fanatic and I just want to show you what I know. It's like no, let's go through the like what muscles you're using. Let's go ahead and let's get down with it. Let's get through through it, you know. And so it, I am not surprised that people don't ask about it, but I'm such a fan.
And usually that one is if you want to work in a gym, like in a big commercial, at least in the United States, because there are people that listen worldwide. So in United States, if you want to work at a like big chain gym, that's one of the ones that they would require. Um, but on the online business, you don't need any certification. It's the Wild West. You just got to type it in your bio, and that's it. You're an online coach, which is also very interesting as well. What do you think about that, and how it's so easy, and how do you feel it makes it more harder for legitimate coaches that took it seriously, went through the certification process, and then you have people that are just up there kind of giving people uh, a bad taste of what a trainer is, and then they kind of are hesitant to deal with a good one when they come across one, because I've heard some bad stories of people paying a lot of money up front, and then to this day they haven't had a training session, and I feel for those people.
When it comes to that, I mean, that is very unsettling for them knowing that they're going to put someone through that type of experience because I'm so glad that I know what to stay away from, any knee injuries, from watching for any back misalignments, watching for those little discrepancies, you know? And so for someone not to be aware that they need to be alert on that and just going solely on experience, I mean, I just hope they don't hurt anyone in the process. I mean, I feel like some people take life as, life lessons as education. That's their own perspective, but I just hope that they don't hurt anyone, because I feel like maybe they have been studying this craft forever, and but at the same time, I feel like if you're that enthusiastic about it, why not take that extra step for your clients, for their safety and for your knowledge? I feel like I love education. Like, I did not grow up as someone that felt book smart, but in my 20s, I became someone that was so insistent on being book smart. And um, maybe down the line they will want to go that extra step, because I feel like knowledge is.
That's so funny too. When I was younger, I really wasn't into education, and then as I got older, I'm like, oh no, I want to learn, and it's better for me. And for a long time, I didn't want to coach anybody. People ask me all the time, "Hey, would you train me?" I'm like, no, because I was too busy competing, and I felt it's going to take away time from me. But now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I could still do both, and I now I just want to share the knowledge. So if I'm not feeling it, I won't do it. If that's what I want to do, then that's when I'll go for it. So I don't want to just half-ass anything. So if I'm going to train someone, I'm gonna overgive, because that's just my style, and I want to see the person get benefits. And even if they leave me, that I could have taught them something valuable that they will continue to use, some healthier habit, as this room is titled. Um, so for, like, anybody listening, a man or woman, what do you think it is easier to start with? Is it the diet? Is it working out? Should you do both? What do you recommend to people on average?
I mean, it would be easy to say you can choose one, but I feel that it is such a balancing approach, and if someone can be open to both, it would be amazing. Oh, I took the first step by taking on exercise first, and I would have like lean cuisine meals, but then that would be what I knew for nutrition. And so I felt, now that I know all about my macros, I'm a certified nutrition coach now, and I feel that it is so crazy the way that you can use exercise as a legitimate tool brush. It's another tool in your tool chest, I guess. It really just, it helps sculpt what you're eating. I love what protein does. I love what eating carbs and not being afraid of carbs does for you. It's they both are each other's puzzle piece, and it's amazing when when a person has that realization for themselves, where it's not imposed, that it is only going to benefit if they are willing to collab the both.
Well, congratulations on your nutrition certification. And since most people don't ask, let's go ahead and hear it. What are all your certifications?
I am NASM certified with my personal training, my nutrition coaching, and with my women's fitness specialization as well. And I'm in the process of doing behavioral techniques, and I like that when it's also through NASM. And I'm choosing that because I'm also a behavioral interventionist for children with autism, and so that helps me realize we're all about what can we do to help a situation to become a better habit and instill it to make our days a little bit better. You know what I mean? And so that's what I'm using. My last one I'm super excited for, but all three.
Okay. Now, the third one you mentioned, the one about women, I've never heard of that. And for anyone listening, can you give us a little bit of more details on what that is?
It goes over just the separation of like women's biology is slightly different than men's, and knowing the different life cycles that women go through is, it's only going to help within their process, because we're not only aging, but we also go through monthly cycles, and We also go through just being someone that has multiple hats and how that carries onto our energy. And so it goes over just all of that, just like also goes over the body during pregnancy. And so it just really helps specialize a program, especially for women. I feel like that's always been my goal, to help other women, no matter what stage they're at and down the line, just to help them make fitness work for them. And I feel like that's what that specialization does, is helping women in a little bit more of the
Okay, that's great. Thank you for that insight. And there definitely is a difference. Me as a runner, um, a lot of women will ask me, "Well, what do you do about your toenails?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I don't care about my toenails." And so that's a whole different perspective. That until a woman asked me about that, I'm like, "Oh, I never even thought about that." So, uh, and that's just the beginning. There's other having to worry about sports bras and the menstrual cycle while you're running and training, and um, those are things I definitely can't give any insight because I have no clue. um, I stay in my lane as far as that. However, earlier when you were talking about how you're training for the Spartan, uh, that's one of the posts I saw. You were so excited on your time. It was truly authentic, which is great. I love to see when people are really actually happy about little gains. You gotta celebrate the little gains. You can't always just be like, especially when I was kind of first starting competing a lot, it was always like not celebrating, like, no, that's not good enough. I want more. I want faster. Um, so that it's good to celebrate the little wins, and I'm glad you do that. Um, do you feel that that's important as well?
Thank you. I honestly felt like my heart was glowing. I was super excited. I was never a runner growing up, but I I've been practicing 3 times per week, and I feel like seeing that difference, even just like in 3 minutes, a 3 minute difference. I was honestly, that wasn't easy, and I feel that for you as a runner, it's just like that's something you have to build up to. And especially with running right now, I'm trying to take my best to not overexert myself in the process, but build myself up at the same time with my speed. And so that has been interesting, by keeping my shoulders back and down, by practicing my breathing to make sure I don't like get that shortness of breath, just like really collecting it all. And so that was just super exciting. But like you kick butt all the time with this. So I feel like I cannot wait.
Well, you keep training, you'll definitely get to that level. When is the race you're doing?
December, December 11th.
Okay, I always recommend people to, some people don't like to do it, but I always say find something, a Spartan race, a 5K, a jiu-jitsu tournament. I do the Nike basketball tournament. There's always something, if you like cycling, there's always something going on, and I recommend it because it's kind of exciting, and it's a motivation where you're like, well, I got something to do in December, so I gotta, you know, do this. And typically, LA Marathon is always in March, so it's good because otherwise you're just gonna pig out, or I would during the holiday food. Being Mexican American, eating all the tamales, and then there's Thanksgiving and eating more food during the holidays. So doing I've been doing the LA Marathon. It's going to be 15 years straight. So doing it every year, it's like a goal for me. Like, no, I can't. I can't just pig out every single day. I got to train. I got to do this. So it gives you a reason to kind of watch what you're eating, in a not in a bad way where it becomes not fun. Because if it becomes not fun, then you need to change it up or find some different event. Uh, do you believe in competing at all?
Definitely. Like I want to go there to not just show up. Like I want to compete as much as I can with my little legs. 15 years. That is crazy cool. Honestly, very, very cool. That is goals. I honestly, I feel that I want to do my best to compete when I'm there. And so that's why I'm trying to make sure like I get my time under as much as possible. Just so when I do the obstacle portion, since I strength train, I'm trying to build myself up there too. But like I'm trying to make sure when it's time for me to run, I'm going to make it happen. And I believe someone else should go into something that they want to compete in, do a mud run, do something where you're doing the actual, just something to look forward to. Because even right now, like you said, when it comes to eating, like tomorrow, I plan to have my run tomorrow. And I like to make sure that on the days that I go for a run, I'm not going to feel fatigued if I had like a couple hard seltzers the night before or I ate late, you know? I'm making sure to be like, I know how I'm feeling my body for that, you know? So I think that's your
So you definitely feel a difference on your performance with what you feel yourself the day before.
I think so. I feel like, you know, when you have your pre workout and you let it settle, but you're like, it's not doing its job. And so I can feel that when I am getting the right amount of sleep, I go to bed for the most part, I kid you not, by like latest 9 p.m. And just to make sure I can wake up. I haven't been waking up as early because I've been getting clients who wanted earlier workouts. And so I've been like a little bit more flexible on that. But like for the most part, I was always, throughout all quarantine, I would wake up at 3 just to kind of like, I wasn't sure when I would have to go back to work, but I still would make sure I would be done with my workout by like 6 something, just to make sure I had time to relax before work. Like I'm all about that habit building. Like that's why I love this, because it, like, you pay attention to like what fits into the schedule that will fill your cup. And yeah, so I make sure that how I treat myself the day before, make sure I actually enjoy my actual workout. Like it actually is meditative. And
I know that's important. I know there's times, and I feel that that's one of the reasons why I do a variety of different workouts and sports. There's times where I'm like, I'm training too much in this. I need a break, and doing that variety is that break where I'm still working out. I'm still keeping active. I'm getting that variety I need, that mental break, and then I can continue training. I know some people are really like, well, you have a plan. You gotta stay rigid to that plan. But sometimes it's about having fun, and if you're not having fun, you got to find a way to bring that back. And just to add on to that whole competing, some people will be like, well, competing isn't fun, but you can compete against yourself. It's something to, you know, can make you better. So competing is not comparing. Don't compare yourself to someone else. However, you can go and compete one day, depending on the competition. Because when I go running, I know I'm not going to win the marathon. I go there to compete against myself every time. It's me versus me. When I do a jujitsu tournament, well, I have an opponent, but it's for that day. I'm not comparing myself to them. We grew up differently, different skills, different body types. And so I think a lot of people that I've talked to kind of hesitate from competing because they get into that comparative mindset, and that's just, you don't want to compare. There's a good quote which is slipping my mind, but uh, comparing is like the beginning of misery, and the fitness journey can be long, and so in order to keep going, you have to really enjoy it, um, and that's why the people that I follow, like on social media, uh, I can see their passion for working out, and that's why I have you here today as a guest. Um, Attitude is contagious, and don't follow people that are going to upset you. How you were mentioning earlier, all these great online workouts that were coming out, like follow people like that inspire you to work out and give you ideas. Maybe you don't have exactly that home gym that they have, but you can have something else. And how much do you control your social media intake of what to keep yourself motivated? Is that hard for you, or do you just have that natural motivation?
for me, I do my best. I feel like in our situation, we need to be like content creators just to make sure that it is good content being put out. So I'll try taking care of that like first thing. But after that, like I still study in the afternoons. And what I'll do is I have this app on my phone to grow a tree. And this tree, it's called, like, it's a focus app. And I'll let that grow for like maybe 30 minutes and I'll go on my phone. I'll give myself like 10 to 15-minute breaks. But for the most part, I'll cycle through that. Like I'm all about the habit part. And then I'll do another 30 and then like I'll take in some of that or I can just I'll just watch TV right now or I'll just go I just do something that's enjoyable during that time. And sometimes social media kind of fills that in. But I just try my best not to compare as much as possible. It's hard not to, but I mean, try to fill myself in with other productive things that will only make me a better a better trainer for others and a better trainer for myself.
No, I agree. I agree. Because I'm always trying to get my clients to find an event, you know, and I could the whole part of it is making you uncomfortable. Oh, you're a little nervous about it? That's good. That's growth. You're like, well, am I training enough? Well, that's good. You're thinking about your training. You're uncomfortable when you're doing it? That's good. That's growth. You went through it and you didn't die, like the meme says. That's great. You know, that's growth. Now you complete it, even if it's a 5K, which in your mind you thought you could never do, and now you accomplish that, then it's like a seed that was planted. Well, what else can I do? And that's how it starts with everything. I would say I'm going to speak for myself. Diet is the most difficult thing. Fast food is such an easy option. Um, and I know that I'm not the only one struggling with food. There has to be a lot of other guys, struggling with what to eat.
I think so. I feel like everyone struggles with food because we not only have food that we are giving ourselves as options, but the food that in our immediate household, for the most part, we all live with someone. And so, whether it's family, what they create, and you can't exactly have your input completely in that. And when it comes to when you eat out, you'll try your best to eat as clean as possible, but the world doesn't work in favor of healthier meals. I mean, it's getting better. It really is. But even for like when it comes to guys, I feel like it's you guys are dealing with having bigger appetites because you guys have like the muscle mass that you do. And so you're kind of having to like control that hunger to not be negative when you do consume. You know what I mean? It's not negative food that's you're consuming just because you are hungry. And so diet is such it's I don't even want to consider it a diet. It's just eating healthier is hard, but at the same time, feeling unhealthier is also hard.
Oh, that is 100% accurate, and I'm glad you said that at the end. But yes, everything is not designed to make it easier to get a good healthy meal. It seems, but from the time I grew up to the options I see now in the store, it definitely is getting better, and I hope it keeps getting better. And us putting pressure and talking about it, puts pressure on these giant corporations to start cleaning up their act and provide us healthier food options. Uh, I've noticed some like fast food restaurants that were starting to clean up their act. It seems like when COVID happened, for sales or something, they're just like, well, now let's just 86 the healthy options, and they're gone.
Thank you. There's so many things I was excited for, and I'm like, thank you, Taco Bell. Thank you, McDonald's. And are those items there anymore?
Yeah, like okay, if I have to eat something here, I'm gonna get this. Oh, we don't have that anymore. Well, why not? And then it doesn't make sense why a salad costs you $10, but I can get two cheeseburgers for $3.50. Like, how is that possible when the, like you're profiting so much and you're not helping your customers live longer so they can keep eating there.
I completely agree. I feel like for those that are like, especially those that, let's say, are fresh out of high school and they just want to go out, hang out with their friends, and they put on whether they're in college or not in college, they put on like either the freshman 15 or the freshman 30 just because they're eating the top ramen, they're eating the cheeseburgers because they are cheaper. And so it's kind of creating just like this this addiction that we didn't realize we were consuming, and then we had to officially break it in our mid 20s because we're like, holy darn, like now we have to reverse everything we did because of cheaper options. That is mind blowing. And a $10 salad is, it's so frustrating because even the salads that they do provide aren't technically even healthier. They're just healthier than a burger, it seems.
Yes, because I don't know. It's been a while since I've looked into a lot of the food because sometimes it could, I'll go into like moments where like I'll do a lot of research, and then when it comes to food, a lot of the things that I find out, unfortunately, I try and stay positive about everything, but things that say organic or not organic, and so I'll look into it for a while, and then I get disappointed, and I'll stop. I'll keep trying to eat healthy, but I'm like, you're gonna charge so much for iceberg lettuce, which technically has like no nutritional value, and that's what you're giving as your salad option. That's trash, in my opinion. I'm like,
I agree. It's just, it's so like, you're like, okay, I guess I'll settle for this. But then it's just like that. Let's say that's for dinner and you already had everything else going good at the start of your day. You just have your dinner, let's say your last 700 or 600 left for the day. And all of a sudden, you're totally going to exceed. And for us, we know that we can definitely come back from that. But others will see that and will look at that kind of like as if they failed because of that. That's if they track food. But you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, it's not even a, I wish that that the most popular choices that we have in our areas wouldn't make it so difficult because they do have them. I feel like they would get such a bigger crowd having the healthier options that were genuinely healthy. Like it would be really cool. I feel like it's Instagrammable.
I'm waiting for someone smart to open up some sort of chain. Like imagine 24-hour healthy fast food. Like,
Legit dream. That would be
yeah,
legit, just like nice. Like I had the munchies. Okay, cool. Let's go to the green smoothie, and you know they have that like salad that with the light dressing that generally is just like the protein, and they'll all the nutrition facts. Like
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll still be stopping at the taco trucks late at night. But yeah, it'd be definitely nice to be like, well, I did the taco truck already this week. I can't do it again. Let me go to that healthy 24-hour option.
I dig that. And I totally hear. I mean, we're Mexican American. We love our tacos. But at the same time, it's nice that we have those. And hey, that's also our protein option and our carbs option right there.
That's right.
Right.
All right. So for women, I know you specialize in women um, who are struggling, with their diet, like most people, because when you look at the numbers, obesity, it's over 70%. What's like something basic that you could recommend?
For women that are
Yeah, like
um,
one little tip that you could give them, like to get started. Um,
track your food, I feel like just download my Fitness Pal and do not follow my Fitness Pal's recommendation if you're trying to like put like the extreme 2 pounds because at like 1200 is for doctor like supervision, but definitely track your food on how you would on a regular basis. See on how that affects your body, and if it benefits you, cool, continue with that. Kind of use that as your guidelines. If not, kind of like look a little bit deeper and just track what you eat. I feel like data is key.
that's a very good tip. I definitely need to start doing that more. And then what about physically? What would you be one tip to a beginner that wants to get started? That woman that hasn't worked out from COVID, uh, and is like kind of like on the fence of I need to start working out, but I don't know what to do, or should I start working out? What would you recommend to as words of encouragement or a tip?
I would definitely look into anyone that's starting out for stabilization exercises. Don't be afraid to just do body weight at first because that is a foundation to adding the weights, adding the resistant bands, adding the Bosu balls, and don't be afraid of the regressions. If you can add an incline, if that's a little bit more comfortable. If you can't do an incline push up, do a wall push up. Focus on form above all versus getting 20 reps in. I would feel like that is so key. Tempo and focus.
I love body weight workouts. So how we were doing that scenario earlier, if we were in an island, there's plenty of great body workouts, just body weight workouts that you can do. Um, so I guess I wouldn't be that bored in the island with my resistant bands and body weights and rocks. That's actually a good gym right there.
Oh, that's a beautiful gym right there. Oh my goodness. All you're missing is a yoga mat, but the sand is your yoga mat.
Yeah.
Stabilization, there you go. I don't think so.
And so I on the fortune cookie, I put a link to your bio. But for everyone who isn't on Fireside and is just going to be listening to it on the podcast, how could they contact you?
My Instagram is 𝒂𝒄𝒍𝒔, and that's just primarily what I use is that. And so definitely reach out if you have any questions. I am taking online clients, and I would love to help you reach your goals in a very sustainable.
And so, do you only do online training then for your clients at the moment?
Right now, I have clients at the gym, and so I'm getting the back to in person in there, and so I wouldn't, if they're in California, definitely reach out. I'm in the Long Beach area. So I would love to see if we can work out in person, maybe at the park, or we can definitely work something out. So definitely. Not,
And with everything going on in California with the variant, um, it- how is it at your gym? Are they just making everyone put mask? I know the gym I went to at one time they even had people wear like gloves. You have to have a mask and gloves on. I'm like, okay.
for us, we are mandated to wear a mask. And so luckily that officially got reinstated. For a minute, it wasn't. And so getting people back into the swing of things has been a
And so, were you working at this gym prior to COVID?
no. Actually, I started working there back in June. So it was pretty recent. I was taking online clients during COVID, during quarantine, not COVID because it's still happening. So during quarantine, and but my my living room is tiny, but I still want to help. Like I generally just it really pumps me up to help people, especially with their fitness goals. And so there they provide the clients, and so I'm able to just help out more people. And so
I just find it interesting, and people that I know that own gyms or work at gyms, I like to ask them, of, do they see people coming back? Like, are the gyms packed? Do you do you think that like people are like, do you see a less of a crowd? Are people afraid to go back? Because I feel
mm-mm.
I feel that there's a part of society that's gonna be always like kind of like afraid now because of all the fear tactics that have been to the point where they're not gonna want to really go back to society. So I think there's some people that are just not going back to the gyms anymore.
I mean, that's where my mindset is because I still work out at the gym, but I know that not everyone has that space in their homes. And I feel like for those that genuinely, I feel like post COVID, a lot more people see the value in movement. And so the crowd is there at the gym for those that are willing. But I feel that that's on both online and in person are both equally. A lot more people are being active now, which I find so amazing.
You know, I, I I wonder when I start seeing the numbers as far as like obesity in the country kind of start changing, then because I think, okay, so I went hiking to Zion in Utah, and I went to the Narrows, which is if you've never been there, it's just basically you're walking in water up like waist deep the whole time. A lot of people were just going, getting waist deep, taking the pictures, and leaving. But were they posting, oh, I just hiked the Narrows, great trail? What were they really posting? So are these people that were seeing, like, yeah, a lot of people working out, are they working out? How many people maybe posted that they were working out or kept posting old pictures, and then now that COVID's over and you see them like, whoa, what happened?
I mean, I feel like there's some people that there are still there's the pre-contemplation stage, there's the contemplation stage, there's action, and then there is ooh, basically where someone's able to be consistent. But basically, I feel like a lot of people get stuck in kind of like, it's contemplation in the process. So in that process stage of, I want to create a plan, I'm here, I showed up, and they're still looking for that just magical moment of that connectivity of the mind and body. But it's a lesson learned when they don't see results and they realize that it's all within their actions. I mean, I feel that people have the hope of showing up and things just happen with those photos. Like, people probably are like, well, I took the photo, I showed up, this is one step closer than I was last month, you know.
I hope so. I mean, that's true. If that's like their beginning of their journey, but if you're just going there and like saying you're hiking, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're not getting the benefit. You know, you're just like doing it for likes. It and I could hear the conversations and I could see them, and it was because everybody's there on their cell phone, and I wasn't prepared for that hike. I didn't have the proper shoes or stick, and yeah, there was just a lot of selfie action going on. So it makes me think, and some of them could have just been like, "Hey, we came here," but I wonder how many of them just exaggerated a little bit and said, "Yeah, we went on the hike." Um, a lot of clout chasing going on in social media, and through audio, social audio is great because you can't really fake it. People can hear, that you're passionate about fitness and helping people, or if you're a phony and full of shit.
I mean, those people, like I said, they are going to come to the point when they really gaslighted the situation. Not gaslighted, I'm not even sure that's the word. They had a lot of smoke and mirrors for the situation of them getting fit, and it's only going to show when they do see people in person or their health doesn't get better. You know what I mean? It's going to be unfortunate for them, and it's all we can do is just like, okay, now that you saw, like, it takes more than just being there presently. Like, are you ready to create a plan? Are you ready to, like, also progress after you've already mastered it? Are you ready to be challenged? You know what I mean? It's a whole, like, it's such a journey, and I feel like I'm someone that, like, I never would go to the gym and just take a selfie and leave myself. So, like, to even imagine someone got to the point of going to the gym and just sitting there and just taking a picture and then leaving, or just generally sitting at a machine hogging it up. I mean, that could also be a thing, but like, it kind of sucks because it's just kind of like, I wonder why they weren't able to get past that movement. You know, that's it's just like, it's a process, and it's like that some people, it takes a bigger process of someone lifting up one leg after another.
That's probably a good funny show, light show I could do next time on the funniest things you've seen people do at the gym. Some people, like I said, if I owned a gym and you're on your cell phone, I understand, take your pictures, get your videos, but if you're on the phone more than you're working out, your membership is revoked in my gym. In my gym, like, you can't train here anymore. I only need serious people, and I understand we're living in the age of we have to record everything, but you have to spend more time working out, or I revoke your membership. So one day when I own a gym and you want to work out, you already know the rules. Anyone listening in, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It was cool trying this little video feature. Um, I kind of like it. So, uh, to everyone listening in, Fireside now has video, and now you can, you know, see the host and the guest. And um, I want to thank you so much for being my guest, Phoebe. Is there anything else you wanted to mention?
I just want to say thank you for my first podcast show. This was honestly, I hope I didn't ramble too much, but I really appreciated this time, and I look forward to seeing how else you challenge yourself, Ray, out there in your marathons. That is super cool, and I look forward to watching your.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. And anyone that I've had on, I know, video just came out, and when I first mentioned it to you, it wasn't out, so I wasn't quite sure we'd have it. But now that it's available, I Of course, anyone I've had on, I definitely want to have them back on with video so they can have the whole experience, and there'll be other features as well. Also, before close it out here, I wanted to mention that I am now an ambassador for the OC Marathon, which is Orange County in California. And so, besides the marathon, they also have a 5K, a half marathon. And if you're interested in doing it, it is on November 7th. And if you enter Ray Runs and then the number 10, you get 10% off your registration. Besides that, you can find me on all my social media links under Coach Ray Z, and that's YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, on and on and on and on. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you once again for being on the show, and everyone have a good night. Till next.